Yes, we're back with another rider, another episode. Today we have a lovely lady, Felicity, here. Am I saying that right? Felicity. And she's worked on super yachts. So it's going to be interesting. So this is going to be like a roll-on from our selling people super yachts, or billionaires super yachts. And we just take it from there. So nice to have you here today.
Thanks so much. It's exciting.
That's good. Before we get into that, don't forget to like, subscribe and follow and share. So, how did you get into the business of working on super yachts?
Well, I kind of was just bumming around New Zealand a little bit. COVID had just finished and I love travelling, but of course I'm terrible at saving. So I figured, why not get onto the boats where you can travel and earn some money at the same time?
So you had a plan, but do you spend all your money when you go to shore?
It depends. When we go to more expensive countries, like the likes of Dubai and Maldives and stuff like that, it is easy to spend all your money. But again, as well, a lot of the time we are at sea and doing crossings, and so it's a good way to save because you're not really spending any money, of course.
So did you see an advert in the paper, or what happened?
I had a friend, she was a few years older than me, a friend that did it, and she would come back to New Zealand on her holidays and when the seasons had ended, and she would just tell me all about it. So I was always wanting to just COVID, and I just kind of was a bit restricted.
So do you work with her, or?
No, so she stopped yachting now, but she pretty much just told me all the courses to do and how to get into it. So that was pretty much my guidance.
So you did your seaman survival course?
Yes, yep, all of that.
Yeah, I used to work on the ships. How did you feel when you had to do that lifeguard thing?
Good thing, but we had to do water safety. That was probably my favourite one out of the three. The fire safety was a little bit hectic, but nonetheless I've passed them all, so they're valid for 5 years.
Yeah, my ones would have run out some years ago when I think of it. So that course, you said the fire one was a bit hectic. In what sense?
Well, it's not my strongest, and we had to do like a drill type of thing where you like put all the gear on and you have the oxygen mask and the tank on, and you have to essentially put out some fires. It sounds minimal, but when it was a dark room and yeah, you couldn't hear anything with all the gear on, so it wasn't my favourite as opposed to the water safety.
Was it like shipping containers where?
Yeah, it was in a shipping container.
And you go from room to room?
Yeah, so you just have a feel of everything.
And it's all smoked up?
Yeah, all smoked up and you can't hear anything.
And someone's behind you, someone's in front of you?
Exactly.
Team effort?
Yeah, team effort.
Yeah, that's good. No. You think about what the Navy have to do.
I know.
They have to block holes and all these other things.
Like
yeah.
my hat goes, after doing all those trainings, my hat went off to all of the people and all the firefighters and stuff. I definitely learned a lot.
Okay. So I suppose it's rich and famous people you work for?
Yes, rich or famous people. So I haven't worked on a boat with any famous people yet, but definitely a lot of wealthy people.
What are they, Russians, Arabs?
They're Russian.
The Russian?
Yes.
Okay, so do you speak Russian?
No, but they speak fluent English.
And are they hard to work with, easy to work with?
No, so the boat I work on, they're really lovely.
Okay.
It's a dream.
Is it a whole family or just?
So it's a family.
They've got kids on there as well?
Kids, but the children are like my age, so like in their 20s, which makes it really easy. Low maintenance.
Yeah, and they're always going ashore and doing whatever they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. They're always going and exploring new countries and out on excursions. So it's pretty low maintenance, and it's definitely a dream job at the moment.
How many people on the crew?
So we're a 74-metre boat, so we've got 19 crew. When we're fully crewed, there's 19 of us.
And what's a typical day like for you?
So the day in the life. So when boss is on, I wake up at 5:30ish, starting work at 6, and my job is to open up the boat. So I turn all the lights on, open the blinds, set up the breakfast table, and then we're getting the chefs on to breakfast and they're cooking away, and then the guests wake up and I serve them teas and coffees, and then say around 8:30, 9 they'll be starting to have breakfast, so I'm on service with a few other stewards and we're running out the food go back and shower, and they might go out for the day, so they'll take the boats out or the jet skis, and some either will stay on the boat and clean, or turn their rooms up for the day, or we'll go out on the excursions with them. So yeah, it's pretty full on, but it's good.
So you go out with them?
Yeah, so we're really fortunate on this boat. They're very generous, and they often, each trip, each country we're in, they'll take us out at least once on an excursion. So I've done a lot with the owners, and that's a great way to see the world again.
And also they get loyalty.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're
scratch
gonna
my
go,
back, I'll scratch yours.
You're gonna go the extra mile for them.
Totally, yeah. It's a respect thing at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah. So you said about jet skis.
Yes.
So the yacht's a massive yacht, and it's got jet skis built into the back or something.
Yeah. So we hold 2 jet skis and 2 tenders.
What's
so
a tender?
A tender's like a small boat.
Okay, 2.
Yeah, 2 of them. So we drop off the guests, pick up the guests on the tenders, and then if we're going to like an island or something, some of them will go on the tender, and the others might take a jet ski each. So yeah, lots of water toys.
Has it got a helicopter pad?
We do have a helicopter pad, yes.
But you don't have a helicopter?
No helicopter.
Okay, alright, well, alright. So these excursions, like, tell us some of the countries you've been to.
So far on this boat, which I joined at the start of the year, I've been to the Philippines, Thailand, Oman, and now we're in Dubai. We're just in a shipyard period at the moment, so the boat's being painted and repaired. But some of the excursions, like in the Philippines, we rode quad bikes up to the volcano, which was wicked. And in Thailand, we just went to a few of the islands. That was really cool. A few beach barbecue setups. And in Dubai, we went to the desert on dune buggies.
Yeah,
That was
I
probably
did
my
that.
favourite. I loved it. It was so fun.
You know what the funny thing is about that whole situation there? It's like you're living a life of a billionaire, but also a working class person.
Exactly.
So it's a mix.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Do the hard work, get the treats.
Would you want to be that rich?
Asked me that a few years ago, where I was a bit more naive, I would say, hell yeah. But now that I've learned a bit more in life and seen what wealth can do to you, or maybe I don't think that rich. I want to be comfortable and happy.
What do you what have you seen that makes you wanna say that?
I've not necessarily seen anything personally, but just you watch these shows about how money can really get to you, take over your life almost. Documentaries about people starting off small and becoming too big, things like that.
Okay. No, I only ask because you're living with them.
Yeah.
So you're seeing how they are.
Yes. Well, this I think is a different example. Like the owners of this boat are really humble and generous, and despite them being really wealthy, I don't think that they necessarily have got too big for themselves. And I think that might be because they started. I don't know too much, and I probably couldn't say too much, but I think they're self-built.
Yes.
So they build their wealth.
Yeah. So.
As opposed to being born into it. So I don't know. It definitely is different for everybody.
And what's interesting is children, because children are always the ones that you think may be the nightmare and squander the money.
Exactly. I agree.
And would you say you've seen that? Not necessarily just with this one family, it's just generally.
Myself, no, I haven't seen that. But
So
definitely hear about it.
So that you've never been spoken to rudely. You've always been treated fair.
On this boat, yes, but I've been on a few other boats where you definitely do get spoken to like a bit rough, but it's just comes with the job, doesn't it?
Yeah. Have you ever said, "Listen, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm off."
No, I have not.
I'm not. Has anybody ever said they're off at the next pool?
Not on any of the boats I've been on, but you definitely hear stories about it amongst the industry.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
You said 19 crew. If somebody's sick, is it like really a strain on the crew? Like, because you've got to cover for someone else's job. Everybody needs to know everybody else's job to a certain degree.
Yeah, you definitely need to know and be able to stand up in that respect. But if somebody's sick, it doesn't really strain the team too much. You just put in the extra effort, which is great. And we're a really close team, so we're all there to help out where we can and have each other's back, which is amazing and so good to be around.
It's a team made up of people from all over the world.
So we mostly got a few Kiwis like myself, plenty of South Africans, plenty of English, British people, and where else? A few Australians.
Are the captains English?
Yes, our captain is English.
Yeah.
And he's great.
I was told a lot of the Royal Navy produces a lot of captains for the private sector.
Yeah, I can imagine. Lots of people actually do come from the Navy and then work on to the yachts, which is a nice, glamorous transition, I think.
You've spoken about some of the pros where you get to go on excursions and stuff and live the life of a billionaire. What are the cons?
The con.
Watch out, vehicle on shoulder ahead.
Sorry.
I suppose it's quite a straining job. Like when the boss is on, you're waking up from 6 and finishing at sometimes 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. And then, yes, it's not, I think a big one for me is you feel limited from like a regular life. Like I don't get to go and see my family all the time, or just go over for a Sunday dinner, or I miss birthdays and weddings. So yeah, I think that's definitely my biggest con. Yeah, not having a normal life and constantly being around my family.
How does the shift pattern work? Because if you're on the ship, like I've been on the ship for 6.5 months, continuous more or less at one time. How like breaks, weekends off, things like that, you don't get any of that every day?
It all depends. So say if we're doing a crossing from one country to another and we're at sea, we're working the whole time. Like we might have like a half day on a Sunday, but we don't have weekends off. And then when we're in a new country, our captain's really generous and he tries to give us, a few days in between before getting ready for another boss trip. So when we were in Thailand, we had a good 4 days off to go do our thing and travel, and then back to work. And then if it's a while to our next boss trip, we'll have weekends off, so normal shifts, normal hours, which is great.
So, and then, so the family just have to work with that because they they need to understand the crew can't be burnt out.
Yeah, well, they're pretty considerate as well, and they come maybe every month and a bit for 2 weeks at a time. So maybe even 2 months, every 2 months.
Yeah, I forgot.
Which is really good because we're like working towards getting the boat all ready for them again, and the closer we get to a boss trip, the more hours we put in. Maybe we won't get the weekend off, and then we're working those full 2 weeks when we've got the boss on, and then after we'll pack down the boat and have maybe a weekend off, and then maybe travel to a new country. So yeah, sometimes it's great and we do get plenty of time off, and then other times you are just having to put in those hard yards.
Yeah, I suppose I never thought of that. The family's not always going to be on the boat. And they're
Estimated time in traffic, 16 minutes.
They're going to be all over the place doing different things.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they all decide they're going somewhere together for Easter or whatever, and then you're full on work. But a lot of the time you're just taking it relatively easy.
Yeah, so they're pretty like consistent where they come on like for 2 weeks every few months. So in between packing the boat down, travelling to another country, and then packing the boat up again, it seems to roll around really quickly when they next come on board. But as I said, at the minute we're in Dubai in a shipyard period. Things
Dry
are
dock.
done. Yeah, we're still in the water, but just getting some things fixed up and getting it ready for more or less a new season, I suppose.
Yeah.
So it's a bit more laid back at the moment, which is nice.
To avoid that area.
Yeah, it just avoids that. We're always just in tropical places.
Yeah, the monsoons are rough.
Yeah.
I've been in the monsoons in the Indian Ocean.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of thing you know what God you serve.
Yeah.
In that respect, yeah, and stuff. How long do you see yourself doing this job?
Well, that changes every day. Like, I do really enjoy it, and I see myself maybe doing it for another 5 years and growing and being, you know, in a higher position. But in saying that, you don't always get a good boat. And at the moment, I'm on such an incredible boat where there's so many perks, and we're all such a good team and tight knit, that I could see myself staying for 5 years. But eventually, when I do move on to another boat, it might not be as good, and I'll be like, you know what, I'm done with this. So yeah, it changes every day, but ultimately I do want to be consistent and you know, put in a good effort, a few years, make something of myself.
You said you joined the boat sailing industry when after lockdown. What was you doing before the whole lockdown?
What was I doing before? I worked at a co-working site in Auckland, New Zealand. So I was helping them out with running events for our community, and it was a fun job. Yeah, I loved it. It was really cool. It was definitely just I did it because, you know, it was a job. I didn't study to do that or anything.
You went to university?
Yeah, I studied web development and graphic design.
Oh, have you ever worked in that?
No. I think I went to university just to party.
Well, at least you're honest.
Yeah.
I hope you have to pay for uni out there?
Yeah.
I hope your dad didn't hear that. What does your dad do?
My dad's an electrician.
Okay, that's good. And he's happy with you working on the ships?
Yeah, my dad's a big traveller, so he's so proud. He always says that I'm living his dream.
Yeah, I hear you. What does the overall future hold for you?
Well, something fabulous, of course. I'm pretty optimistic and positive, so I'm not too sure at the minute what I'm going to do, but I'm confident and happy, and we'll see what happens.
That's good. If someone wants to get into the sailing industry or seamen, what do they have to do? What qualifications do they need to get? What would be your advice to them?
My advice, definitely do a lot of research and see if you're up for it, because it can be a really hard job. And then I would even advise to get in to do some, if you say for my job, being a stewardess, maybe go do some bar work and work on some cocktail making and, you know, housekeeping and stuff like that. You need to do your STCW, so that's all the fire training and the water safety training, those courses, medical, so you just go to a doctor that supplies that. But yeah, go for it. And I flew out to France and I stayed in a crew house there and got amongst all of that, did some day work, and just started applying, and soon enough I got a job. So just keep trying and see where it takes you.
So that house was dedicated to people who wanted to be in the sea
Pretty much, yeah. So in
industry.
Antibes in France, there's a few crew houses around, and pretty much all the yachties go there at the start of the season. And a lot of partying, but if you work hard enough, you can land yourself a job.
What is the season?
So that was for the mid around maybe October.
Okay.
Yeah, so European summer.
European summer. Okay. That's interesting because a lot of the world you spoke about is below the equator.
Yeah, so this is a world cruiser. We're not just restricted to the Med.
Yeah.
So we go to all these different places, which is super cool. I've done the Med before, and I was stoked to get this job. See something else, you know?
Yeah, I hear you. Well, it's been a great, interesting interview.
I'm glad.
My last question is, apart from if you want to give out your social media handle, if anybody wants to follow you and your dreams, is based on your life experience so far.
Watch out, vehicle on shoulder ahead.
If you had to give one sentence of wisdom to the world, 8.8 billion people standing in front of you, no pressure, what would those words be and why?
Oh, that's a tough one. And I don't want to sound too cliche, but it does sound cliche. Just be yourself and be happy. Keep trying. Be positive, because that's got me a lot of places, and I know it. So I'm definitely very proud.
Yeah, I can see you're happy. My last naughty question is, as in not rude, but just sneaking in, the last question is, what have you learnt about working on the high seas that you wish you knew when you had started?
I've learnt how to graft and how to work really hard. I think before in my previous jobs I would fool around a lot and know that I could get away with things, and I didn't really take things too seriously, and I've now learnt that it's not a joke. You are in the real world. You're in the yachting industry, which is a lot more serious, and yeah, just keep your head screwed on and don't take the piss too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot for that, and we wish you well.
Thank you so much.
We hope that episode enhanced your life. We post an interview every day, as well as vlogging on our social media channels. Don't forget to subscribe to get our latest episode.